Alrighty, everyone. Well, game number 3 in this best of 5 series finds us on King's Cove LE. Spawning here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, playing with the red Terran pieces. He's currently down, but certainly not out of the series just yet. His name is uThermal. And his opponent spawning top left-hand corner of the map, playing with the blue Terran pieces. He's currently on match point and wants to close out this series right here and right now. His name is Clem. So guys and girls, this has been a macro-focused series where both players have just been kind of trading jabs, but it's felt like, for the most part, I would say about 85 to 90% of the time, Clem has had full control of this series, surprisingly, because I thought that uThermal, this would be the favorite in this series, but Clem has been absolutely going toe-to-toe with him. Very surprised at Clem's play here, as he is just playing absolutely out of his mind, just being the one who's been creating the problems for uThermal, but he's also just, consistently putting pressure on uThermal and being the one that's creating the issues in the early stages and then into the late game of these first couple of games at this best of 5 series that was played at the WCS summer event, and was one of the games in series within the round of 24 of that tournament. So very important game here for uThermal to get back in this thing. Clem certainly wants to close it out, move on to the next round, and do what he needs to try to do that. But I gotta say, uThermal, what do you do? Because the narrative is certainly around uThermal right now. What do you do in this current situation to get back into this game is the big question that I have. It looks like he's going pretty, for a standard build once again. Once again, he's going to go for that barracks into the orbital command, followed by the factory. The same can be said for Clem. So both players very similar build orders as far as from that production tab, doing very similar like things, as we are going to see now. The starport is going to be coming in now for uThermal. And I just would love, out of uThermal, what I would do if I were him, I would certainly go ahead and just try to put as much pressure on Clem as possible. I would not allow Clem to get, really give him much opportunity to be the one causing the engagements. I would be the one trying to cause issues on the opposite side, because really what uThermal's done up to this point, it just hasn't worked. And, he's had his opportunities, but it's just felt like Clem has just dominated so far this series. But we'll have to see what ends up happening here in this game, as we are going to see a couple of those Reapers as well as a Hellion make their way across the map, trying to do a little bit of some damage there. Nothing too crazy as of yet, though. But it's like I said, guys, I mean, this has been a really fun engagement to talk about, because both these players, they're very much so on similar skill sets when you think about it. But I got to say, Clem has just gotten the better of uThermal so far in this series, just outplaying him throughout all 3 phases of the game. And now we're going to see a Liberator coming in. I do like this decision, actually, by uThermal. Looks like he's going to try to move out here and maybe do a little bit of some damage. He knows that what he's been doing so far in this series has just not worked that well. So how can he change it up? Well, it looks like he's going to try to do a little bit of some damage and hit at a couple of angles at once. And I love this decision to try to just do a little bit of some damage here in the early stages of the game to try to take an early lead and kind of build off of that. Here we go. It does look like we are going to see now a little bit some micro is going to have to come in here, as we are going to see that Liberator is now got that liberation zone right on top of the main base location. Beautiful play here by uThermal. This is the kind of play that I love to see out of him. Got to be the one who is creating the problems. Lost mining time as well. uThermal right now has a great opportunity at getting, taking a nice little lead here in these, as we approach that 5-minute mark. So I love that play there by uThermal. Now he's just got to go back home and just do more of the same. Go ahead and keep on pushing at Clem, because that's the one way you cannot allow Clem to get comfortable. And what happens, guys, is when you're putting pressure on your opponent, it forces your opponent to stay at home. And if your opponent decides to start moving out and you're already at their natural command center or their main base location, a lot of times will force them to turn their army around and go back home. It keeps them occupied at home instead of occupied focusing on your bases. So I got to say that uThermal played that one very well, and Clem has done that so far in the first couple of games, just creating significant problems for his opponent. That said, it looks like Clem now wants to put on a little bit some pressure of his own, as we now are approaching that 6-minute mark. We're seeing Ravens are going to be coming in more. Another command center is going to be going down now for uThermal, but the fight is happening now. Oh, nice play there. Getting a couple of those Hellions for his troubles was Clem, so nice play. But these unit compositions have not changed up that much, throughout this series. It's been kind of the same. It's been, Hellions, siege tanks, Marauders, some Marines. You got Vikings as well as Reapers, and both players are really doing that. That range on these Cyclones is absolutely insane. Hellion wants to see whenever that third command center may be going down, as the third command center is being created right now for Clem. Third command center is being constructed right now for uThermal as well, and at this stage in the game, seems like it's pretty even. Does look like Clem is going to head back home. We are going to see that he is researching out of the Tech Lab Stim Pack, and we're going to be seeing double Viking production coming in as well. So very similar unit compositions, but it's worked so far for Clem, so why change it up when it's been working so well? I just feel that uThermal needs to change some things up if he wants to have some success in this series. He has got to kind of change it up just a little bit in order to try to just obtain victory and get back into the series as soon as possible. So it does look like now that Clem sees that third command center is going down, he wants to be the one who puts on pressure on that base, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Looks like he's going to start trying to put a little bit some pressure on there. This is pretty heavily fortified, however, so you got to be really careful how you engage this third command center, but maybe you want to hit from another angle, which may be what Clem is thinking. He may want to try to hit at this natural command center, as we are going to now see those Ravens are coming in, and the Ravens are going to start creating some problems with those auto turrets, and those auto turrets are going to do a little bit of some damage, nothing too crazy as of yet, as the supply is near even. We actually also see uThermal taking a little bit of a lead at this point, but this has got to be a game that uThermal has got to own from start to finish if he wants to get on the scoreboard against his opponent. Clem has got to just keep doing what he's doing to really obtain victory here. And it does look like we are going to see those SCVs are going to be pulled off the line here. They're going to try to do as much damage as possible, but man, those siege tanks doing a ton of damage, just getting kill after kill right now. The high ground, however, for the siege tanks of uThermal, but a lot of those SCVs were pulled off the line, and man, that was a lot of damage that was dealt right there, as we are now going to see more and more siege tanks are being added to the mix here at that high ground location. But I gotta say, Clem is just playing this absolutely brilliantly. I absolutely love the way he's playing this. He's playing it really smart, but he's also doing damage when he needs to. And we are going to see the follow-up now with multiple more barracks out of Clem. And we're going to see the follow-up now out of uThermal, as we're starting to see the techs of choice. We're going to be seeing another factory coming in. We're also going to be seeing a command center being followed up as well. So it looks like uThermal is trying to take over his side of the map. Clem is getting his own command center constructed, as well as vehicle weapons level 1 and vehicle plating level 1 are going to be finishing up in a couple of seconds now for uThermal. And that's the other thing, is that those upgrades, you gotta try to stay on par with what your opponent is doing, at least, or try to stay ahead of your opponent when it comes to the upgrades, as we're going to be seeing infantry weapons level 1 and infantry armor level 1 going to be finishing up in less than 10 seconds now for Clem. And I don't know. There's something about it that I really like the position that Clem is in once again. I just feel that he is in a position of power right now. Without a doubt, it's just felt like that. And we're going to have to kind of wait and see, can uThermal get back in this thing? I would love to see him get, kind of get on the scoreboard and see what happens as, trying to turn the tide of momentum, which is definitely what you need to do. In StarCraft 2, it's all about momentum. When you talk about these best of 3s, best of 5s, and best of 7 series, we're talking, momentum is everything. And it does look like, Clem right now has the momentum, but once the momentum shifts, sometimes you can, really start building upon something and kind of really turn the tides in your favor. However, we're not at that point as of yet, as we're going to see concussive shells that's going to be finishing up in less than 10 seconds as we pass that 11-minute mark. And here comes more of that army from Clem. He's going to start to move in here, and he's just kind of slowly pushing, trying to keep tabs on everything that uThermal is doing. And this unit composition has just not changed much throughout the course of this series. I mean, we're seeing a lot of Vikings, we're seeing those Ravens, we're seeing, siege tanks, Marines, Marauders. I love it. It is a very tanky type of unit composition that is very, very powerful, to say the least. And it looks like Clem has found a position that's going to work for him, at least for the time being, as we are going to see those Vikings engagements are going to get started here. Both players are trying to find those correct positioning, as there is a barracks that's just floating in the air. But here we go. Both players just trading blows when it comes to those Vikings. Who is going to get on top here? They're just allowing it to kind of go back and forth at this point, as we are going to see now the liberation zones are going to come in. And man, this could cause some problems, as we are going to see now those back and forth engagements. And Clem has taken a lead, without a doubt. He's taken a little bit of a lead, but you got to be very, very careful, as we're going to see those siege tanks are going to continue moving inwards. They're fully in range now of that supply depot. And it does look like the supply depot does go down. And once again, going after that refinery is Clem, as we are seeing just these unit after units going down on uThermal. Now, it looks like uThermal is going to try to get us around here, but it's just such a hard spot to really get it through to. It does look like we have a Thor has joined the fight as well for uThermal. But man, vehicle plating level 1 is going to be finishing up in less than 5 seconds now for Clem. And this is just a hard situation for uThermal, because he's in it's kind of tough. It's like, what do? You got to stay at home now and play defense. Now, a lot of times if you play good defense, it'll translate to good offense. But man, Clem is playing absolutely incredible at this point in the series. He is kind of doing what he needs to win these games, and it may not be the prettiest thing, but his micro has been really good, and his macro has been really good as well, as his upgrades are kind of catching up now. Infantry weapons level 2 finishes up, and so now he's on those +2/+2 upgrades. He's continuing to build this army down in this position, and it's just a matter of time until one of these two decides to clash, as we are going to see some of those Hellions are going to be over near that third or that fourth base, as we are going to see now these both the back and forths are going to be coming in once again. But man, so many siege tanks are out on the playing field right now between these two players. One bad move could spell absolute disaster for either one of these players. Smart Servos is going to be finishing up in a couple of seconds now for uThermal. And it does look like there was a run by here with those Hellions. They do get in there to maybe do a little bit of some damage, to say the least, and that's exactly what they want at this point. They want to do as much damage as possible. But Clem is staying patient. He's staying extremely patient right now, waiting it out. Wants to wait till his moment is clear to move in as we pass that 15-minute mark. He's just getting fully upgraded. Advanced ballistics is going to be finishing up in less than 10 seconds. And both players are in, you know, similar situations. I mean, both almost had 200 supply. I like where uThermal is as far as his mineral count is concerned. He could reinforce this army relatively quickly with how many minerals he's flooding. But here we go. The massive engagement that we've been waiting for. It was a matter of time until they all clashed. Who's going to be out on top as we see Clem and uThermal just clashing at this point? It looks like uThermal, his supply is starting to plummet a little bit quicker than his opponent, as uThermal is on the brink of elimination right now, as we now are going to see possibly a push here by Clem. Clem knows now that he is in the position of power and is going to start creating some substantial problems, as now he is in range of those SCVs as well. You got to be very, very careful, however. Clem is playing absolutely lights out this entire series and is very close to closing this thing out. If he can close this thing out right here and right now, he's moving on to the next round at the WCS summer event. And oh man, it's not over yet, but uThermal supply did certainly plummet there, and now his mineral count certainly plummeted as well. Clem is in a great position, but here we go. Once again, the armies are about to clash, and we see those Thors are right in range of those liberation zones. The Liberators are doing so much damage as the eye in the sky. uThermal, his supply is absolutely plummeting. GG is called, and Clem sweeps this series and moves on to the next round at the WCS summer event. I hope you guys did enjoy this game and this series between Clem and uThermal. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.